Hi everyone, I'm Marie and I'm going to give you a very brief overview of our study, Characterizing Non-Binary French, a first step towards debiasing gender inference. So one of the issues with gender inference systems is that they're based on a binary view of gender. For them, everybody is either a woman or a man. Non-binary individuals are thus invisibilized or misgendered. So what we want to do is try to debias or debinarize gender inference in French using a system that infers gender from a linguistic signature that does not exist in English but does exist in French, grammatical gender. In French, when they talk about themselves, women generally use feminine markers such as je suis contente, I'm glad, and men use masculine markers such as je suis content. Women and men can also use neutralizations or words that are not gendered, such as je suis triste, I'm sad, or je suis adulte, I'm an adult. And what about non-binary individuals? Well, they have a variety of options. They can use the feminine, the masculine, a mixture of both, neutralizations of course, but they can also use non-binary grammatical gender markers, which are quite new in French, and these markers come in two flavors. First, markers that combine the masculine and the feminine, which are also used to refer to groups of people of various genders, and which have gained a lot of visibility over these past 10 years in French. And second, there are neomorphemes or neutral gender markers proposed by non-binary grammars, which are completely new. To look at the way non-binary individuals use grammatical gender and to find out if there is a linguistic signature to being non-binary, we created a corpus using content from what used to be known as Twitter, from Reddit, and from 3 forums. We identified non-binary authors by extracting gender identity statements. So as you can see, it's quite a small corpus. Then we extracted grammatical gender markers in je suis, I am expressions and looked at the distribution of these markers. So here's what it looks like for the 21 people in our corpus who used at least 10 grammatical gender markers. As you can see, there is a lot of diversity in the way people use grammatical gender. And also we can see on this graph that people who use non-binary markers in orange did so on the smaller French forums and not so much on Reddit or Twitter. We then clustered users using k-means clustering, not taking neutralizations into account, and we can see that there seems to be 3 main trends in our corpus. People who used almost exclusively the masculine, people who use a mixture of markers but mostly non-binary markers, and people who used also a mixture of markers but mostly feminine markers. So how could these results be used to debinarize gender inference in French? It seems that the closest thing to a grammatical signature to being non-binary is the use of non-binary gender markers, and a rule-based system that would include these markers would be able to detect non-binary gender. However, since not all non-binary individuals use them, it would still lead to misgendering. So in conclusion, our study provides valuable insight into the varied, diverse ways non-binary individuals use grammatical gender in French. It does not solve our gender inference problem completely, but it is a first step. Obviously, this was a very brief summary of our study, so if you want to find out more about non-binary French, check out our paper.